Checking in with South Bend, Notre Dame, the head coach, Chris Halfpenny, and new assistant coach, McKenna Davis. And let's just start there. McKenna, I mean, I feel like I'm getting ready to call your name still. You're just off the playing field. What made you want to go right into coaching? And Coach Halfpenny, what makes McKenna such a good fit at Notre Dame?
Yeah. So, playing for 4 years and playing competitively my whole life and like having a dad who has always coached me when I was little, I feel like coaching was just like in my nature for so long. And I really wanted to stay connected to the game for as long as possible. So being able to go right into coaching, I'm very grateful for this opportunity that Notre Dame has given me so I can stay attached to the game and stay involved because I love it so much. And, this was just the right opportunity for me just to keep, learning about the game, growing the game, and then now getting to, teach players the way that like I've been taught for so long, and it's been really great. I'm just so grateful to be here.
So fun to hear McKenna talk about her journey to get here. I think likewise, something that we're always looking for as coaches and, new additions to our staff members. One, can you teach? Can you teach the game? And to what McKenna spoke about, I think that everyone saw that this summer. McKenna was already out there teaching at best in class. She was at IL Women Experiences. She was doing, and has her own LLC. She has her own business. McKenna has been teaching throughout the course of college, which I think is a hand in hand. Like when players are also teaching, it's a different perspective of the way they look at the game. And so I think that it elevates players when they're continuing to give back in coaching the youth. But also, something that McKenna talked about with me was like, I've always wanted to coach. Like, I love this sport. Like, she's a LAX rat. It is so much fun. It's so awesome. And what makes her a great fit for us in complementing what we already have on staff is her vision. Her vision for the game as a prolific feeder is fantastic. And then, like I said, since this isn't her first outing being on the field in coach role with a whistle, hat, stick on her hip, and jumping back in there and showing. She's been doing this for a long time. And she's wildly coachable, but our goal in adding someone to our staff was, hey, you just played the modern game. You have national championship experience. You have ACC championship experience. You're a 3-time All-American, and you played under a regime that knows nothing else other than Final Four weekend. To end any time earlier than that is not a success in her book. And that is our vision. That is our trajectory at Notre Dame, is to get to Final Four weekend. The stars will align, we'll stay healthy, and we're going to bring home a championship here. And so we wanted some more of that pedigree on our staff.
That is so awesome, McKenna. It's so cool to see you be in these shoes right now. I know you had such a great leadership style while you were a player. So everything that Coach Halfpenny's talking about, I mean, it's unbelievable. I saw it firsthand, and I'm so proud of you for stepping into this role and getting to influence these girls. They're very lucky to have you as a coach. But you guys are about to wrap up your fall ball season. So what have you guys learned from scrimmages you've had and practices, and how excited are you guys for the spring?
Go ahead.
We're so excited. Our team's definitely on the younger side of it. We have a really, really talented freshman class that's here. So being able to bring them in and work with them has been super special. And we have one more fall ball game that we're super excited for. And just coming off of fall break, a good reset for the girls. Now being able to wrap up with one more game. We feel very excited to get to see them. And I've loved seeing the girls develop throughout the fall. So I think so far, I've been very impressed with the way the team has been working this fall.
Yeah. We actually have a later fall ball. We kind of kick things back. We get our 20 hours going at the end of September so that we go all the way to the middle of November. So our last fall ball game will actually be against Northwestern, which, being only 3 months out from the actual whistle blowing, on February 6th with the first draw, it does start to feel like one regional rivalry with Northwestern. Anyways, it feels like a real game. We play a full game, stop clock, all that good stuff. So we have 2 weeks until that final outing. We have 11 full practices left until we're done at the beginning of December. But I would say, there's a lot of excitement and enthusiasm, but there's a lot of drive on this team. We're returning a huge amount of players that gained needed experience last year. Last year, obviously, we were playing really hard, but we were up on the short end of the stick on those one goal games. And that's not lost on our returners whatsoever. To McKenna's point, we've added this unbelievable freshman class that is not just stepping in to learn, they're stepping in to impact. So far this fall, it's been fun. I mean, we played full games. We got the opportunity to play against Louisville, Ohio State, then Marquette, Michigan, and most recently Maryland last Monday. And I really like where we're at. I think that we're very competitive. We're just trying to work out a lot of kinks right now and get that chemistry flowing with all of these new faces. Because again, like, we might look young in years, but I can tell you right now, we don't look young in experience anymore.
Yeah, and you've helped set that standard, right? When you talk about Notre Dame lacrosse coach, and you talk about getting to a Final Four and winning a national championship and winning an ACC championship, and sometimes you have to go backwards so you can go forwards. And I think that was last season, right? Failing to make the ACC tournament, well below the standard that you helped set. So to hear you talk about how encouraging the fall has been, the offseason has been, I'm curious from your perspective, when you kind of dug it last year and kind of did the post season, where did things go wrong for us? What did you learn from last year that's eventually going to end up being the puzzle pieces that get you to the Final Four and holding those trophies?
Yeah, I think that with a brand new team, right, from what everyone saw in 23-24, with all the players that truly were in there, like, it was like going from, crawling to like having to sprint. I think that where we were able to stay competitive, I think that we were an incredibly dangerous team throughout the course of that regular season, where people were like, man, if it all comes together, like, they're going to get over the hump. I think that the absence of winning a big game, not being able to come away with that Syracuse win, not being able to come away with that Stanford win, not getting a top 10 win last year or top 15, that really stunted the quote unquote belief that you need. Like, what comes first, winning or confidence? And we talk about it all the time. Confidence actually should supersede winning. It kind of must. And that comes into the time that you put into your game individually and collectively, the time you spend with your teammates, to make sure that you get the end result that you want, that you're doing what you need to do so that the result does take care of itself. And I think when we peeled the onion back, right, one, the pain of having a season end so early, where that was a space no one had ever been in our program, including me. I'm like, I can't really remember ever, even in my playing days, being done that early. You have an opportunity to peel the onion back, look at all the practice plans, also be realistic. We had injuries that held us back. Nobody wants to use as an excuse, but we did. And those hurt us. Madison Rass is out for the final 3 games. That absolutely hurt us. She's a 3-goal swing either way, and that's on the low end. I really think she's a 5-point swing, I should say. But, I think we looked at how we have to continue to lean into relationships, one-to-one relationships and collective unit relationships, how we have to lean into empowering our players to be their absolute best all the time, and that we have to challenge them a little bit more in training. In our practices, like, were we challenging those clutch end of play moments? Because we left a lot on the floor last year. Like, we did have the ball in power play situations. We did have the ball at the end of the game. So we've just been leaning into things like that. We're really empowering them, helping them stay very organized so that they can play freely.